Well, that's the question in terms of timing. Steve Kornacki, how many times have you seen numbers close up or change in the final weeks before a midterm election? What are we, 2 weeks away, 2.5 weeks away?
Yeah, 2 weeks and 1 day away. I mean, we have seen that the parallel has been drawn between this year and 2014. And 2014 was Barack Obama's second midterm, and it ended up being a wave year for Republicans. It was a late building, slow developing wave to the degree that even on election night, at about 6 o'clock election night, a lot of people didn't see it coming. And yet Republicans ended up just winning Senate seat after Senate seat, getting control of that chamber, also winning enough seats in the House to bring them to their highest level there than they'd been since 1928. That one kind of formed late, developed late. There have been some signs that this one might be moving in that direction. Just to give you one measure of it here, we've been tracking the key Senate races here and what the polling average looks like. Here are the Democratic-held seats. Republicans trying to pick off, Republicans need a net gain of one. They got to win at least one of these if they hold all of their own. Republicans continue to have a small lead in Catherine Cortez Masto's Nevada seat. That would be a pickup for Republicans if they were able to get it. Look at Georgia. That number has come down. Raphael Warnock still leading, but he led by several points a few weeks ago. Now, on average, it's 1 point. We mentioned Mark Kelly in Arizona. He continues to lead, but at 2.5 points, that's a very competitive race. And meanwhile, you take a look here at the seats that Republicans are trying to defend, and I think Democrats are getting very nervous about Pennsylvania because of the trajectory of Pennsylvania. If John Fetterman, the Democrat, continues to lead, if Fetterman were to win this, that would be a flip. Remember, Pat Toomey, the Republican, now holds this seat, not running for re-election. Democratic win is a net gain, but August 1st, John Fetterman's lead on average was 8.7 points. Republicans have erased nearly all of that at this point. So the trajectory here has got to be concerning for Democrats. And meanwhile, in some of the more recent polling, you look at Ohio, J.D. Vance, you look at Wisconsin, Ron Johnson. Ron Johnson finds himself leading in polls. That's a brand new place for him in his political life. But the Republican advantage has ticked up a point or two in these states. You can add North Carolina to that list as well. That's what we've seen over the last 10 days. The Republicans have moved into striking distance in a couple of these Democratic-held seats, and they have padded, at least in the polling, they've padded a little bit their advantage in some of the seats that they already hold, in addition to making Pennsylvania much more competitive.
So the map, if it holds right there as those numbers, that's still Democrats. That's still 50-50. But you're right in terms of Pennsylvania, Joe Mika, being a source of some real anxiety for Democrats. Fetterman and Dr. Oz meet tomorrow night for their one and only debate. A lot of eyes will be on that. And I was talking to a lot of strategists over the last couple of days who see the voter enthusiasm numbers, but particularly worry about Black and Latino voters who have been for so long the real core of the Democratic coalition, that those voters seem less enthusiastic, less motivated this time around, less inclined to break for the Democrats because of issues like crime and because of issues like the economy. And in terms of the polling suggesting what the top voter issues are, and threats to democracy, number one, but if you add up the inflation, cost of living, economic issues, put them all together, that's still by far the top issue on voters' minds, Joe and Mika. And right now, anyway, with 2 weeks in the day to go, those seem to be breaking for the Republicans.
They do. It is, though. We have a couple of weeks left. And Robert Gibbs, I can't tell you how many election nights I went into where all the polls, the pollsters did their best, the pundits did their best. I can go all the way back to 1980, where the night started, and, we were at least told that that was going to be too close to call. It ended up being a massive victory for Ronald Reagan. I remember, I remember so many races. We talked about 2014. There's another great example. I could talk about 1998 in the middle of impeachment. Every smart person in Washington said it was going to be a massive night for Republicans and Newt Gingrich. The Democrats held their own, did very well. 4 days later, Newt Gingrich was run out of town. Same thing with 2014. Nobody knew it. So when you have a race, we just saw all the key races. There were 10 of them put up on the board by Steve. 6 of those 10 races are within the margin of error. We could see things breaking the Republicans' way, and it very red night. But explain how, you look what happened in Kansas. Polls were about 15, 16 points off. Look what happened in 2016 Even in 2020, Biden was supposed to win some states by double digits. He ended up winning by, less than 1%. Talk about how this is still all up for grabs.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would say we're at that point in the election where if you're looking for an antidote because you're depressed about something, spin around the internet for 20 or 30 seconds and you can almost certainly find a poll or a polling question that will find and give you some cause for relief. I think we are seeing the strains and the limits of polling, particularly as we get closer and closer to these elections. I would start to look at early turnout numbers here, looking at in places like Nevada, how are Democrats doing in a place like Clark County? Are they building up the types of leads that they normally need to win statewide? So I think we're coming from the macro of national polling into the micro of really what's happening in states. Your point, Joe, is really important, though. What we have tended to see, again, particularly in these midterm elections, is everything breaks at a certain point. It may break early, it may break late, but it does tend to break in one direction. That doesn't necessarily mean that that you're going to end up with 55 Republican senators, but you may end up with one party or another winning all the close races when we get to the end of election night.